13th stream of Higurashi. Lucky number. Great. That's splendid. That's just fantastic. You know. So how many streams during Level 1 was? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? That really shows the difference, huh? That we got through all of Danganronpa 1 in a pretty quick amount of time. But this game isn't going to let me go so easily. We'll get started here in a second, though. But I will say, I got an idea. Let's watch the debate, guys. It's up there. It's going to be up in the corner the whole stream. Boring. Speed it up. Get them out there. Oh yeah, they muted them. There he is! There's Joe! I'm turning you up, Joe. Oh, he looks happy to be here.
Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. Let's begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy.
Oh, I love the economy.
Inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president, what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious.
Yo, Trump, I'm watching your stream. Why are you trying not to laugh?
The economy collapsed. There were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do is try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out in the position where we have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. But there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come from a household where the kitchen table, if the things weren't able to be met during the month, it was a problem. The price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination, what I was left with in corporate greed, is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos. Chaos.
Boring.
Those jobs, we make sure this price
got hit by the greatest economy in the history of our country.
Repeat that.
Around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you. President Trump?
We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. And we have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID. And when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military and wars and so many other things.
Yeah,
But the thing we never got the
Whatever. Get these chumps out of here. Time for Higurashi. Last time we left off, it was scary. That's all.
これ本当に内緒なんだからね。
My volume right. Let's see. What I'm about to tell you is a secret, alright?
しおんちゃんは理解のある人だから話したけど、他の村人には聞かれたくないの。
Her mouth ain't moving. I told you, Shion-chan, because you're an understanding person, but the other villagers don't want to hear it.
下手をしたら罰当たり者ってことで袋叩きにされかねないんだから。
Things go awry, I could be ganged up on and punished. Shion flashed a devilish smile, as if reveling in the immorality of it.
前原くんも内緒にしてね。
Ambaru-kun, you keep it a secret too, okay?
知られたら私、お社様のたたりに遭うか、生贄にされちゃうかするかもしれない。
Mami Takano? Mods ban this guy. No, I'm kidding. If this gets out, I could suffer Oyashiro-sama's curse or be made into a sacrifice.
たたりなら、今年はどんな死に方をさせられちゃうのかしら。
If it's the curse, then I wonder what kind of death it'll be this year.
生贄なら、鬼ヶ淵の沼に生きたまま沈められちゃうのかしら。
If it's the sacrifice, then will I be thrown into the Onigafuchi swamp while still alive?
そういえば今夜よね。
It is tonight, you know.
お社様のたたりがある夜は。
The night of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Takano said, bringing her face right up close to ours. As if to say that if she had the choice, she'd rather suffer the curse. That was what she seemed to be applying. Takano-san took a fairly worn notebook out of her paper bag, then began to flip through its pages. There were all sorts of references and newspaper clippings attached to them, and it had all manner of things written inside. The letters were very small and bunched together, so I couldn't tell at a glance what it was about.
本当は国会図書館で当時の新聞を探したいんだけどね。
What I'd really like to do is search through the National Library for newspapers from the era, but
ほら、ここ。
here it is. A photocopy of a page from some book was slid into the notebook, and it, too, was written in small, tight lettering. When can we leave this damned place? I know! Like the other pages, I couldn't tell what it was about just by glancing at it.
これは実際にあったお話よ。
This is a story that actually happened.
明治の終わり頃にね、
It was around the end of the Meiji era.
鬼ヶ淵村で身元不明の惨殺死体が発見されたんですって。
They discovered an unknown mangled corpse, the victim of a murder, in Onigafuchi village. An old newspaper clipping attached to the page spoke of something that was no mere rumor or fairy tale.
当時の警察の資料がほとんど残ってないそうだから、口伝と記憶によるものだけなんだけどね。
You wanna fuck Oyashiro in the chat? Okay, bro. We don't have most police documents from the time anymore. So it's all based on oral traditions and memories.
ほら、これ不鮮明だけど、明治の頃の新聞の切り抜きみたい。
See, it's not very clear, but it looks like a cutout of a newspaper from the Meiji era. Never before has there been a corpse tree with such cruelty and inhumanity. Could it be the work of a demon? Being a copy of a copy, it was very hard to make out, but it was more than enough to make me feel strangely tense. Near the end of the Meiji era. In old Onigafuchi village, a mangled corpse was discovered. The identity of the corpse was unknown. It wasn't even in a state where it could be identified in the first place. It was missing a head, and each limb was separated from the body. Skin had been peeled off the entire body, and there were markings that implied terrible torture in every place imaginable. Not only that, but the belly had been cut open by a sharp knife, with the entrails completely dragged out. The police immediately began an investigation, but since they couldn't even determine the identity of the victim, much less the criminal, Finding answers was extremely difficult.
どういう状況かわかるかしら?
Do you understand what it must have been like? I couldn't imagine such a strange sight, even if I tried. This was the first time I was ever thankful for my lack of imagination.
被害者は生きながらにして全身の皮を剥がれ、あらゆる拷問を受けていじめ殺されたんです。
The victim was skinned while still alive, underwent all kinds of torture, and was killed brutally.
そして死後にもさらに遺体を分解解剖と残虐の限りを尽くしたのではないかって筆者は見ているわね。
The author here also thinks that even after death, the remains were divided and dissected even further. The epitome of inhumanity.
私はどの工程も生きているうちにやったんじゃないかって思ってるんだけどね。
I'm of the opinion that the entire process was performed while the person was still alive, though.
前原君はどう思うかしら?
What do you think, my Barakun? Would you have gotten a better hyperfixation? No. Can't you be into, like, something else, lady? She spoke in a way intended to make me imagine even more vicious things. As my brain was already far over capacity, however, there was no way I could imagine anything more brutal. Then when I broke my gaze from Takano-san's, strangely shaped weird tools were all around us. I wonder if you could faithfully reproduce the mutilated corpse discovered at the end of the Meiji era with the tools found in this place. I want to deny it. I don't want to admit that something so terrible could have happened at all. Even so, they were so strange, so terrifying, these tools. If they had seen through my attempt to escape from them, they did nothing but ridicule me silently.
その薄気味悪い事件が何だって言うんですか?
So, the creepy incident. What was it in the end?
筆者はね、鬼ヶ淵村の恐ろしい習慣は明治以降の近代。
The author says that, regarding Onigafuchi Village's dreadful customs, they survived into the recent post-Meiji days.
ひょっとすると昭和初期くらいまでは残ってたんじゃないかって結んでるわ。
And that perhaps they lasted until around the beginning of the Showa period. I demand petting dog part 3. No time for that. This corpse at a glance appeared to have been brutally killed after the period of torture. In actuality, however, it was the pitiful sacrificial remains of the man-eater's terrifying feast. The corpse was just leftovers. It was so fantastic, so strange, that it didn't feel real. Was this an extension of the legends too? It happened in the Meiji era, though, which is just too recent to be called a legend. Also, there's a newspaper clipping right here suggesting it.
でも本当にあったとしたって昔のことですよね。
Okay, but even if it really happened, it was a long time ago, right?
明治なんて言ったらそれこそ100年くらい前の。
I mean, the Meiji era ended 100 years ago.
たったよ。
That's all.
たった100年前のことよ。
Only 100 years ago.
それにね、
Besides,
昭和に入ってからだってあるんだから。
it kept happening even after the beginning of the Showa period.
終戦直後に騒ぎになった
Like with the uproar around the post-war
人肉缶詰事件。
canned flesh incident.
ごめんなさい。
Oh, I apologize. Hey, you can't just be like, oh yeah, the flesh incident. You can't just do that. Never saw this part. We did just start. Why is she even talking to this lady? I guess she's just curious about, like, the curse and shit. But, like,
この話はタブーだったわよね。
that story was taboo, wasn't it? Takano-san immediately stopped talking as if worried about Shion. Shion briefly looked somewhat angry, but that expression soon disappeared. Huh?
今高野さんなんて言いました?
Takano-san, what did you just say?
人肉缶詰って。
Canned flesh? Just then there was a huge creaking noise. Everyone whipped around to look. What up, dude? It was Tomitake-san who had opened the door slightly. What's so funny?
驚かせちゃったかな
Did I startle you?
ここ
Oh, hi, welcome to the
素敵な拷
stream.
問道具の宝庫よ。
Putting Dark Part 4 when? I don't know. I'll think about it. Oh, Jiro-san, could you not resist seeing inside? This is a splendid treasure trove of torture devices.
僕は遠慮させてもらうよ
I'll pass on that.
生来ねこういうのは苦手なんだ
I'm bad with this sort of thing by nature. Takano-san held her stomach and had to muffle her laughter as if she wanted to make a comment about his masculinity.
それより
So, fun fact that most people miss about this stuff about Can Flesh is based off real post-World War II Japanese history. You know what? That's awesome. What a fun fact. In any
演
case,
舞とセレモニーが終わってみんな沢の方に降りていったよ
the dance and ceremony are over and everyone's going down to the
あ
stream.
と何分もしないうちにお祭りは終わっちゃう
The festival will be over within minutes.
あらいけない。
Oh, that's no good.
前原くんがあまりにも聞き上手だからまたお話三昧になっちゃったわ。
My brother-kun is just such a good listener that I couldn't help telling stories. Well, I wish I didn't hear them. I'd really rather you not mention me in a place like this.
次郎さんは表で待っててくれるかしら。
Jiro-san, could you wait out front?
私はちょっと写真を撮るわね。
I want to take a few pictures.
本当はいくつか道具を持って帰りたいんだけど、それはさすがに無理そうだからね。
There are actually a lot of tools I'd like to bring home, but we obviously can't do that. Calm down. Tomitake ain't going nowhere. Takano-san took a camera out of her paper bag and began to snap photographs. She looked like she was having fun, like she was on a scavenger hunt.
ん
Hmm?
ケイチ君も出るかい
Ichikun, are you leaving too?
もう十分に見ましたので
I've seen enough.
シオンもういいだろ
Shion, you're good too, right?
出ようぜ
Let's get out of here.
綺麗な空気が吸いたいよ
I want some fresh air.
同感です。
I agree.
出ましょう。
Let's leave. Yeah, I don't want to be here anymore. This place sucks. I don't like what I'm learning. Like, none of the knowledge I've received in this place has improved my life or made me happier or has sated any sense of curiosity. Because I wasn't curious in the first place. Imagine if Takano and Tomitake banged on the sacred shed, LMAO. They probably are gonna. Because they're weird. Well, Tomitake's normal, but Takano's a freak. She's probably gonna be like, hey, Tomitake, let's fuck in here. Get on the rack. And Tomitake's gonna be like, okay. Because he's just gonna go along with it. I did feel a bit of hesitation at leaving Takano-san by herself in this darkness. When I thought about it, though, I realized that whatever kinds of evil spirits and ghosts lurked in the darkness, none of them could hold a candle to how scary she was. Even if a phantasm were to appear, she'd be overjoyed and flash her camera at it. It seemed like Shion shared my somewhat rude mental images. We exchanged glances and smiled painfully. We left Takano-san there, bathed in her strobe of camera flashes, and decided to go leave the ritual storehouse. Oh, we're gonna come back here, and she's gonna be fucking ripped apart, flesh gone, head and torso separated, entrails hanging from the rafters. Everyone at the festival seemed to have gone to the streams, their voices were very distant. The voices of the bugs, on the other hand, were clear, lending an empty feeling of isolation to the place.
どうだい
How was it?
面白かったかい
Interesting? Tomitake-san gave us a somewhat mischievous grin. He should have been able to tell by looking at how pale our faces were.
富武さんと一緒に留守番をしてればよかったです
I should have kept watch outside with you, Tomitake-san. Higurashi would never get that violent. Shut the fuck up. Tomitake-san laughed so delighted that it wiped away our dark feelings.
シオンちゃんはどうだったかな
How did you fare, Shion-chan?
怖かったかい
Were you scared?
一応心の準備があった分怖くはなかったですけど、
I was prepared for it, so I wasn't too afraid, but
でもやっぱり実物は迫力あります。
Seeing the real thing was powerful. Shion spoke like she wasn't scared at all. She really had been quite afraid, but seeing as how I was in a way worse state than her, I didn't have much room to talk. Tomitake-san grinned candidly. My mind, exhausted and locked up by nervousness, began to calm itself.
高野さんはおとなしく見物してたかな。
Was Takano-san an adult about this little expedition?
ほら、彼女子供っぽいところがあるだろう。
You know how she seems like a child sometimes.
宝の山を前にさぞや興奮してたんじゃないかと思ってね。
I was worried she'd be way too excited. Both Shion and I laughed and left that as our answer.
見るだけならいいんだけどね。
Hopefully she was only looking at things.
こっそりと何かを持ち出したり、いじくりすぎて細具を壊したりしないかが心配なんだよ。
I'm worried she'll sneak something out of there or mess with her ritual implement too much and break it or something. Right, that's quite possible. He is alone in there right now. She might pilfer something small and easily concealed, hiding it in her pocket. Yeah,
やりかねないです。
I can see that. Shion said what I was thinking.
本当に何も壊したりしなかったかな。
You sure she didn't break anything?
なんだかドタンバタンと飛び跳ねるような音がよく聞こえたからね。
I could clearly hear some noises like someone jumping up and down.
僕は不安で不安で。
I was getting pretty nervous.
ごめんなさい。
I'm sorry.
フィルムがなくなっちゃったわ。
I ran out of film.
ジローさん、フィルムが余ってたら分けてくれないかしら。
Jiro-san, if you have any more, could I use some? Takano-san suddenly appeared while we were talking about her, taking everyone by surprise. Tomitake-san smoothly grinned and responded as if nothing had happened. He's pretty mature.
もう予備のフィルムは切れちゃったよ。
I'm all out of spare film.
申し訳ないね。
Sorry about that.
もう、
Jeez.
いついかなる時でもフィルムを残しておかないと、決定的スクープ写真なんか撮れないわよ。
We don't win any Pulitzer Prizes by not stocking up film for any occasion, you know.
仕方ないわね。
I suppose that's it then. Tomitake-san scratched his head apologetically. Without film, we're done here. Takano-san seemed to have given up because of that too. We checked carefully to make sure we hadn't left anything inside, then closed the door and turned to the heavy padlock we'd left beside it.
高野さん、何も持ち出してないだろうね。
Takano-san, you didn't sneak anything out, right?
失礼ね。
How rude.
そこまで子供じゃないつもりよ。
I'm trying not to be that childish. Okay, but did you? Tomitake set the padlock back to the way it was before. From a cursory glance, it didn't look like thieves had snuck in at all.
よし、
Okay,
僕たちも沢に行こ
let's get over to the stream ourselves.
う。綿を流すところくらいやらないと、お祭りに来た意味がないよ。
If we don't at least set some cotton afloat, there won't be any point in coming to the festival. Tomitake-san spoke brightly, urging us all on. Setting cotton afloat down the stream. I shake my head a few times, driving away my dismal thoughts as to the double meaning. Takano-san, looking a little let down, kept turning back to glance at the ritual storehouse.
もうこれっきりにしてくれよ。
Let's just leave it at that, alright?
十分に知的好奇心は満たせただろう。
You saw enough to sate your curiosity, didn't you?
まさか。
Oh, not at all.
むしろ新しい興味を惹かれるような発見ばかりよ。
Everything I found only renewed my interests.
今日ので、これまでの仮説が一気に現実になったわ。
All those stories and legends suddenly hold water.
これで今後の調べ方がだいぶ変わってくるんだから。
After today, I'm gonna have to change the way I look at all this. Wow, she's truly indomitable. Her curiosity really is something else. She's interested in all this, through and through. But it sucks, and I don't want to hear about it anymore. We descended the stone stairs, and all the people crowding the stream came into view. Near the bottom of the stairs, we could clearly see people receiving cotton that had been cut out for them, then wishing upon the cotton and setting it afloat down the stream. The festival was already over.
まずったな。
Damn.
綿流しの一番いいところを撮影し損ねたよ。
Missed my chance to photograph the best part of Watanagashi.
あら、まだ遅くないわよ。
Oh, but it's not too late.
私が行って流すんだから。
I'm gonna go and set some afloat.
私を撮ってはくださらないのかしら？
Perhaps you could take pictures of me? Takano-san, with an impish expression, brought her head to Tomitake-san's shoulder. Despite his age, he looked embarrassed. I felt an honest respect for Tomitake-san, man to man, for dating such a handful of a woman.
じゃあね、
Goodbye then,
前原くん、
Maibara-kun.
しおんちゃんも。
Shion-chan.
僕たちは今からでも沢に行ってみるよ。
We're going down to the stream.
君たちも一緒に来るかい？
Would you like to come with us?
まさか、
No, no.
お二人の邪魔なんてできません。
I couldn't get in your way.
どうぞごゆっくり。
Please, take your time. Shion waved her hand to them with an expression just as impish as Takano-san's. Tomitake-san, on his part, seemed to want us to come, but whatever. Shion gave a big stretch and sat down on the stone steps. What's so funny?
疲れちゃいました。
I'm pretty worn out.
同感だな。
Same here.
俺も疲れた。
I'm exhausted too.
ケイちゃんは綿流し初めてなんですよね。
Keicha, this is your first Watanagashi, isn't it?
私なんか気にしないで行ってきてください。
You go on, don't mind me.
私は疲れちゃったんで、人混みはちょっとパスしておきます。
I'm tired, so I'd like to stay away from the crowd. Yeah, if we were to go now, we'd barely slip into the end of the cotton drifting ceremony.
お姉たちがケイちゃんのことを探してるかもしれませんから、
My sister and your other friends might be looking for you too.
行ってきてください。
Go on.
あ、そうだ。
Oh, yeah, right.
ミオンたちと別れたまま、それっきりだったな。
They've been by themselves ever since we got separated.
探してると悪い。
I feel bad if they were looking for me. Then Shion suddenly got a playful look on her face, then put her index finger to her lips as if telling me to keep this a secret.
お姉ってすっごく嫉妬深いんです。
My sister's the type that gets really jealous.
私がケイちゃんを独占してたことがバレると、いろいろうるさいんで、今夜のことは秘密にしておいてくださいね。
If she knew I was hogging you this whole time, she'd never let me hear the end of it, so keep tonight a secret, okay? Keep tonight a secret. Don't say things that are so embarrassing.
そういう意味だけじゃないですよ。
Not only because of that either.
今夜、私たちがしたことを思えば、秘密にするのは当然です。
Considering what we were doing tonight, we really need to keep it secret.
今夜起こるかもしれないお社様のたたり。私たち4人が最有力候補なんですからね。
Yoshiro-sama's curse might happen tonight, and we four would be the prime candidates. Loosening threads of tension became taut again. Shion, however, burst out laughing.
じゃあ、私はお姉に出くわす前に退散します。
Alright, I'm gonna get out of here before I run into my sister.
今日は本当に疲れてるから、お姉とやり合えるだけの体力はないですし。
I really am tired, so I don't have the endurance to put up with her anyway.
シオンって、ミオンと仲がいいのか悪いのか、よくわからないな。
I can't tell if you get along with her or not.
仲、いいですよ。
We get along. Though as she said that, her vague expression explained that there are a lot of oddities in a relationship between twins.
俺は一人っ子だからよくわかんないな。
I'm an only child, so I don't really get it.
せいぜい仲良くしろよ。
Make sure you get along with her, okay?
はい。余計なおせっかいと受けたまわります。
Right. Thank you kindly for your meddling.
それじゃあ私はこの辺で。
Okay, I'm gonna go.
ケイちゃんも急いで行った方がいいですよ。
You should hurry up if you want to make it, Kei-chan.
本当に綿流しが終わっちゃいます。
Watanagashi really is about to end. Shion stood up and brushed the dust off her backside. After watching her do so, I returned my eyes to the final ceremony of the Watanagashi festival below me.
でも本当に、
Seriously, though,
あの音は何だったんでしょうね。
what was that sound anyway?
不愉快というか、
It was kind of
気味が
unpleasant
悪
and
いという
creepy.
か。
Huh?
何の音だって？
What sound?
音ですよ。
The sound.
ドタンバタンって。
You know, the banging noise.
うるさかったじゃないですか。
Usually loud, wasn't it? I was giving her a blank expression, so Shion stared hard at me. I stared hard at her,
ご
too.
めん、シオン。
Sorry, Shion.
はしょらないで最初から説明してくれないか。
Could you give me the short version?
何がうるさかったって？
What was making noise?
ケイちゃん、 あれ、
Wait, Kei-chan,
気にならなかったんですか？
it didn't bother you? When all's said and done, it's like we were speaking two different languages.
シオン、
Shion,
冗談抜きで初めから説明してくれないか。
explain it to me without jokes from the beginning, will you?
音がどうしたって？
What's this about a noise?
ケイちゃんこそ冗談抜きで、
Kei-chan, you quit joking around too.
本当に気にならなかったんですか？
Really, honestly, it didn't bother you? Neither of us was giving any ground. Both of us were staring at the other in disbelief. We were answering questions with more questions, with no sign of an actual conversation in sight. Baffled, I held in the urge to shout at her and asked politely one more time.
もう一度聞くからな。
I'm gonna ask one more time, okay?
質問は俺からだ。
I'll ask the questions. Shion nodded silently.
じゃあ聞くぞ。
Okay, here goes.
音がしたって何のことだ？
You said there was a sound. What are you talking about?
ドタンバタンって、
Banging sound.
なんだかどこか遠くの板の間で子供が跳ねてるような。
It was like a kid was jumping up and down on floorboards somewhere far away.
本当に気にならなかったんですか？
Really didn't bother you?
気にならないもん何も。
There was nothing to be bothered by.
そんな音いつ聞こえた？
When did you hear this?
俺は何も聞いてないぞ。
Never heard anything.
ちょっとケイちゃん、それ本気で言ってるんですか？
Wait, Kitchen, are you serious? Shion, as if she didn't understand my plain and simple answer, pressed me further, her expression serious. I have no clue what she's talking about, but if it has Shion acting so like this, whatever it was, it gave me the creeps as the chill down my spine.
さっき最後殿の中で高野さんと一緒に見て回ってる最中、
It was while we were looking around the inside of the ritual storehouse with Takano-san,
高野さんが昔話を始めた頃からかな。
about the time she started her stories, I think it was.
少しずつ
Little by little,
だんだんと
louder and louder,
ちょくちょくと
off and on. She heard a banging sound like a child jumping on distant floorboards.
嘘だろ？
That can't be true.
最後の最後で怖がらせるのはなしだぜ、おい。
Don't start trying to scare me after all that. I didn't hear anything at all. In fact, it was so utterly silent in there that my own heartbeat was almost deafening.
ケイちゃんこそ怖がらせないでください。
Please don't try to scare me either, Kei-chan.
なんだか高野さんの怖い話に合わせて音を立ててるようで、私ずっと薄気味悪かったんですから。
It was like something was making noise in time with Takano-san's scary stories, and I was totally creeped out the whole time. Oh, I think she's been marked for death, guys. Tomitake heard it too. Are these the two that are marked for death? Do you hear that noise when you're about to die? 'Cause shit, maybe Shion and Tomitake are about to fucking bite the dust. The chill rose from my spine to the back of my head. My blood turned cold as it crawled up my body. When it reached my head, my mind froze over.
ケイちゃんも高野さんも全然意にも介さない風だったので、私も聞こえないふりをずっとしてましたけど。
You and Takano-san weren't paying any attention to it at all, so I pretended not to hear it either, but
聞こえましたよね。
you heard it, right?
何度かはすごく大きな音でしたから。
It happened a bunch of times and it was really loud. Shion's eyes were begging me to tell her I heard it. I had no doubt, however, that my own eyes suggested something entirely different. You've got to be kidding look. In that storehouse, we were surrounded by brutal ritual tools that looked like they were from another planet, listening to terrifying old stories. The whole time, she had been hearing a sound that we couldn't hear, by herself. That makes Shion, who heard it, tremble, or should it make me, who didn't hear it, tremble? Didn't know the answer to that at the time. For now, Shion seemed to have made that decision before I did. It's not that funny.
なんだよ、突然。
What are you laughing about?
引っかかりましたね、ケイちゃん。
I really got you, Kei-chan.
嘘ですよ。
I was fibbing the whole time. Uh-huh.
はあ？
What? Shion laughed, saying how easily scared I was, and clapped me on the back. Her smile seemed somehow artificial and actually made me feel worse. Then, after leaving me with 2 or 3 generic diplomatic goodbye phrases, she left, almost like she was running away. All I could do was look after her, my mouth agape. At the end of the day, I didn't have a clue what was going on. Shion laughed it off and said she'd been lying, but she couldn't possibly have been lying. Of course not. Now that I think back, Mitake-san said the same thing, didn't he?
なんだかドタンバタンと飛び跳ねるような音がよく聞こえたからね。
I could clearly hear some noises like someone jumping up and down.
僕は不安で不安で。
I was getting pretty nervous. Tomitaka-san, the most neutral party present at the time, had said he'd heard something. And that noise, it was real? The banging sounds. Sounds as though a child was jumping up and down on some kind of floorboards far away. Oishiro-sama's curse, which happens every year, might happen again tonight. The most plausible victim candidates were Takano-san, Tomitake-san, Shion, and me. The bustling of the people sounded further away than I would have liked, and the sounds of the insects sounded too close for comfort. I'm near so much human warmth, and yet I can't ever go back there again. That was the ominous idea that sprouted in my mind. Then, all of a sudden, I was pounced on from behind, causing my heart to lurch. What is up, my friend? Keiichi, we found you. It was Rika-chan. When I turned around, Mion and Rena were there too. We finally found you. Now we just need to find Satoko. Everyone got split up this year. We should make sure we have somewhere to meet up afterwards next year. You're right. It's a festival, so we should all be together. I listened to Mion's happy declaration with a little bit of guilt. Keiichi, did you root for me while I was dancing? Yeah. I saw it all. You did a great job all the way through. No mistakes either. Yeah. That's right, Rika-chan. That didn't count as a mistake. I tensed up as I realized I made a mistake of my own. Mion slapped a hand onto my shoulder a little roughly. A gross sweat broke out over my whole body. Did you do it too, Kei-chan? Did you get some cotton and send it down the stream? You haven't yet, right? Is what I could feel her saying. Without the courage to tell any more lies, I lifelessly shook my head. Huh? You haven't, Keiichi-kun? You should go now or it'll be over. It'll be over. Sorry. This is my first Watanagashi, so I don't really understand the rules and stuff. That's right. I'm sorry. Ooh. Ooh, I've been marked for death for my misdeeds. Mion took my hand and we started walking down the stone steps. Hey, Kei-chan. What? Did you see Shion? My heart skipped another beat. Maybe Mion could sense my surprise through my hand. No. Oh, well, I sort of think I saw her. You two look so alike, though, so it might have been you. You wouldn't have gotten that wrong. We're wearing different clothes. Huh? Oh, that's right. Mion's momentary silence was like a death grip upon me.
しょうがないな、シオンは。
I just can't do anything about that Shion.
まあ、あいつのことだから、放っておいても大丈夫かな。
Well, it's her we're talking about, so we can't just leave her be. Mian's expression returned to her former usual smile, and we continued down the stone steps, her firmly pulling my hand along. Back up a little bit. Goddamn. What a fun time. Wow. What a long chapter that was. And we got a lot of tips to look at. Not really, just 3. From the scrapbook. Watanagashi. The rite of Watanagashi is performed during our village festival every June, even now. Reading back to its origin turns up a seriously sanguine ceremony. Originally, Watanagashi would happen at certain intervals, and after receiving Oyashiro-sama's trust, they chose a sacrifice. Then, the entire village would kidnap, demon away, the person, and ceremonially dissect and devour them in a feast. The rules that determined the intervals are shrouded in mystery. This is because the ceremonies occurred extremely irregularly. There's a theory that is determined based on astrological fortune-telling, but it isn't too convincing. The residents of ancient Onegafuchi village firmly believed that they were half-man, half-demon transcendents. They are more valuable than humans were, and they forced people within and without to accept that. Perhaps the act of kidnapping and eating people was done to prove that they were higher up on the food chain. This is just a hypothesis, but maybe the rite of Watanagashi was a political event for the purpose of being an outlet for, or outright diverting the attention of, the villagers of the isolated Onegafuchi village. In case any of their complaints or dissatisfactions were serious. If that was the main reason these ceremonies were held, then it's easy to explain how erratic they were. What a story. The alleged importance of the implements. I can't find anything that gives a concrete description on what the ritual implements were like. They were, however, real, and there definitely existed a multitude of different kinds. One source says the implements used in the Watanagashi rite alone numbered 200. The obvious question then is why they required such a myriad of them. The rite of Watanagashi was to kidnap people through the demoning away, dissect them, and eat them. I believe the tools were for dissection and restraining, but 200 of them is far too many. Generally, tools evolve in such a way as to reach a solution for a certain problem. Once you've reached the ultimate goal, that is, attained a certain level of efficiency, the tool's evolution normally stops there. Regardless, why would they have created so many different kinds? One of the cultural elements responsible for diversification over time is that of entertainment. Tools used for entertainment would evolve over time and branch out. Unlike normal tools, reaching the ultimate goal would be more of a dead end, and in searching for the next goal, it would split into many different subtypes. So then, perhaps it's not a stretch to suggest that these 200 plus implements had some entertainment value. This is just a hypothesis, of course, but maybe the human dissection process was viewed as a type of entertainment. Well, that's just splendid. The 3 families of old would develop one new implement, dissection tool, after another, and each was varied, novel, and attracted spectators to keep them from growing bored. Not unimaginable. All of them have to be enshrined within that storehouse. There isn't much longer until the night of Watanagashi. Though its original intent has been lost, I will reveal the secrets of the traditional ceremony night within the ritual storehouse. Can't restrain my excitement. Watanagashi cannot come soon enough. God, she's such a freak. I don't like her. After the festival. Late that night, tensions in the police station were strained. In the silence, many of the staff members' eyes shifted back and forth between the clock and their telephones, counting the seconds in that stifled atmosphere. Komugaya-kun burst in with a young guy trailing behind him. Oishi-san, I've got the autopsy results. The core physician just got here. I'm ready to go, sir. I'll head straight for the burned body's location. What?
熊ちゃん、ちょっと話がややこしくなりました。向こうは身元の判別が非常に困難な状態だそうです。
Kuma-chan, things have gotten a bit complicated. They appear to be having a very difficult time determining who the victim is.
まさか4年前のあれっすか?
They've been dismembered?
いいえ。
Nope.
こんがりといい感じだそうで。
Cooked to a nice light brown. He spoke in sportive tones, but the meaning behind his words was heavy. The staff gave a collective sigh.
頭のてっぺんから丸々?
All the way, head to toe?
バッチリ黒焦げだそうで。
Completely blackened, it seems.
ああいう匂いってこもるんですよね。
Probably smells terrible, too.
ギフさん、かわいそうだな。
What a shame it is to be Gifu-san. Cooked with no possessions. Then discarded outside the prefecture. At worst, it would have taken a week for the body to be identified. The fact they'd sniffed it out tonight was huge.
今、小宮山君たちが沖宮の司会を根こそぎ野襲してます。カルテで歯型照合するしかないでしょう。
Komiyama-kun and a few others are performing a thorough night raid on the dentist in Okinomiya. All we can do is hope a tooth matches some medical records.
ごめん。
Sorry.
誰かきつめのタバコ2箱ぐらい買ってきてくれません？
Could someone go buy me 2 or so boxes of strong cigarettes? The young guy answered in affirmation and darted out into the hallway.
今年は見事見つけましたね。ひょっとすると過去の失踪者もこんな感じで県外で殺されてたんすかね。
We did an excellent job finding it this year. It could be that the people who disappeared in past years are scattered outside the prefecture like this too.
なら埋めればいいじゃないですか。重りつけて日本海でも。
Then why not?
都でもいい
I'm
ですね。
sorry, Oishi, I interrupted you. 500 cigarettes. Then why not bury them or sink them into the Sea of Japan or Lake Biwa or somewhere like that?
でもどうして一人死んで一人消えるのがこれまでのパターンじゃないですか。
Why though? Hasn't the pattern so far been one person dies and another disappears?
クマちゃん、仏は拘束なしでドラム缶の中でこんがりでしょ。多分締められた後にわざわざ焼いたんじゃないかと思うんですよ。
Kuma-chan, the corpse was inside an oil drum, unrestrained and cooked. They probably burned them after strangling them.
見つかることを覚悟の上でです。
They knew it would be found.
じゃあつまり今年は消す気は初めからなかったってことっすか？
So what you mean is, from the beginning they didn't want a person to disappear this year?
消す気がないってよりは、これはそれとは全く別のものでしょうね。消すどころか主張しているようにすら感じられますよ。
Not so much that as they just aren't related. The person didn't disappear. In fact, whoever did it seems to have wanted to make a show of it.
つまり見せしめの意味があるってことっすか？
You mean it could be a warning? He folded his arms, then heaved a long and heavy sigh.
それをしないでやってくれりゃ、その線もあるんですがね。
That might have been the case had it happened in town.
こんな遠くまで運んで焼いちゃったら、下手したらわかんないでしょう。見せしめにするなら、ひなみ沢の近くでやるべきなんですよ。
If they'd messed up, taking the victim far away and burning them alive wouldn't have been noticed. If they meant it as warning, they should have done it closer to Hinamizawa.
殺したことを主張したいのに、場所は演出効果の確実じゃない遠方。主張したいのか隠したいのか。
They wanted to emphasize the fact that they killed the victim, but instead of doing it somewhere for dramatic effect, they did it outside the prefecture. Do they want to emphasize it or hide it?
今年は何考えてるのかな、お社様は。
Boy, I do wonder what Oshiro-sama is up to this year. The The telephone ring cut through the heavy silence. A staff member nearby snatched up the receiver.
おいさん、小宮山さんです。
Uishi-san, it's Komiyama.
出ました。
They have it.
沖宮のデンタルクリニックで3年前に親知らずの治療をしてます。
The dental clinic in Okinomiya fixed the wisdom tooth 3 years ago.
カルテは
What about the records?
レントゲン付きでバッチリと。
Complete with x-rays.
いやー、こんな明け方前に歯医者さんには申し訳ないな。クマちゃん、小宮山くんからカルテ受け取ったらすぐに出発してください。
Well, I feel bad for waking up the dentist before dawn. Kuma-chan, get out there as soon as you get the records from Komiyama-kun.
了解っす。
Will do.
あ、課長です。夜分お疲れ様です。
Oh, it's the chief. Thank you for coming out at this hour.
おいさん、遅くなって申し訳ない。状況は
Uishi-san, sorry for... my apologies for my lateness. What's the situation?
やっと面白くなってきたってどこですかね。燃えてきたぞー。
Well, it's just getting good, you see. We're all getting fired up.
わ
Wow! Is this something to get so fired up and excited about? Someone was strangled and then burned. With crisp. I'm not finding that very fun. Well, wasn't that something? I let out a great big yawn. It was like morning had arrived just as I got to sleep. As Mom set up breakfast, she gave me a pained smile.
どうしたのケイチ
What's the matter, Keiichi?
ゆうべは何時に寝たの
What time did you go to sleep last night?
12時には寝たつもりだけど、昨日はなんだか寝つきが悪くてさ。
Well, I wanted to go to sleep at midnight. I had some trouble with that.
お祭りではしゃぎすぎて興奮して眠れなかったんでしょ
You're probably all worked up from the festival.
違うよ。
Yeah, eat up, boy. No, that's not it. I crunched down hard on the pickled radish to hide my embarrassment. After all that happened yesterday, and our discussion about the sound Shion heard, that banging noise like a child far away, jumping up and down on a wooden floor. The story wouldn't get out of my head, so I had trouble sleeping. It was a long night. I kept jumping at the slight sounds of faraway tree branches. Should have been either unhearable or too insignificant to notice. When I woke up to the morning sunlight and birds chirping, it made me feel pretty ashamed about it, but I felt far from refreshed this morning. Keiichi-kun, good morning. Hi. Huh? Keiichi-kun, your eyes are all red. Why is that? Why?
おはよ
Oh, hey, good morning.
う。どういうわけか寝つきが悪くてな。
I didn't get much sleep last night,
そんなわけで今日は寝不足だ。
so I'm sleep deprived today. So true.
昨日のお祭りは楽しかったね。
The festival yesterday was a lot of fun.
レナも興奮がなかなか冷めなくて、なかなか寝れなかったんだよ。だよ。
Rena's excitement took a long time to go to sleep, so I took a long time to go to sleep too. To sleep. In Rena's case, her excitement seemed to still be wide awake.
こういうお祭りが何度もあればいいのにね。
They should have this kind of festival more often,
またみんなで大盛り上がり。はう
so we can have lots of fun together again.
ま
But
あ、
yeah,
そうだな。
Rena talking about the festival yesterday made me remember everything I had nearly forgotten about last night. The inside of the ritual storehouse had been so utterly different from the relaxed, bright everyday life of Hinamizawa. All those stories that Takano-san told me too. The mysterious incidents that occurred on the day of the Watanagashi festival every year. The strange incidents where one person would die and one would disappear. The old stories of Hinamizawa flickering like a candle behind them. The numerous and horrifying traditions of Onigafuchi village. The villages with demon blood in them. Terrible cannibalistic feasts. The poor sacrifices kidnapped from human villages, victims of the Onikakushi. To quell the rage of Oyashiro-sama, the ritual involving living sacrifices. There were also many, many others. There were so many stories that just remembering them put me in a foul mood. Most of them weren't fiction either, they were true. We didn't need to fear them just because they were real, though. Since it all happened so long ago. Such a very long time ago. About that. Where's Michan? She's late. Huh? Before I realized it, we had arrived at the place we'd usually meet with Mion. Probably because I was so lost in thought. We agreed that if she wasn't here by now, we can just go on ahead, right? Should we? Mion being late wasn't too rare an occurrence, but today she was unusually late. A few of the ominous tales from the night before came back to life in my mind again. Who would die this year and who would disappear? It couldn't have been Mion. What should we do, Keiichi-kun? If we don't get going, we'll be late. She'll be here. She didn't call to tell us she'll be staying home today, right? Let's just wait 5 more minutes, okay? Rena looked at her watch and seemed a little worried, but then she nodded with a satisfied smile. What watch? She doesn't wear a watch. If we had to wait 5 minutes, we'd have to run as fast as we could to school or we'd be late. As soon as I thought that, we spotted Mion running towards us out of breath. What took you so long? You're late! You alright? You waited? You should've just gone on ahead. You got that Patrick watch? That's true. Mion was breathing heavily and her face was all red. Her house was right down this road, wasn't it? It wasn't far enough away for it to end up like this, was it? Michan, are you not feeling well? Huh? Now that she mentioned it. Rena pushed Mion's bangs away and put her hand to her forehead. Rena, your hand is pretty cold. Michan, you're a little bit warm. It's no big deal. Give it half a day and I'll be fit as a fiddle. Are you really okay? You don't have to push yourself, you know. What's this? Kei-chan, are you worried about me? That's nice of you. That answer wasn't like Mion at all. She must have had it pretty bad. I just think you shouldn't push yourself so hard. We can tell the teacher you had to take the day off. I'm fine, I'm fine. I took some medicine. I think it's already working. Mion forced an energetic expression onto her face and flexed her biceps at us. Okay, let's go. Don't overdo it, but of course there's the time. Oh yeah, we're gonna be late. We need to run or we won't make it. This morning sure is thrilling. I guess so. Maybe it's just what I need to shake off the slowness. Let's run. Okay. Give me a second, I had to take my medicine. Hey wait, you're sick, don't go overboard. Mion began to run vigorously anyway.
みーちゃんだって最上級生だよ。
Michan is older than us, right?
自分の体のことは自分で一番よくわかってるよ。
She knows her own body better than anyone. I decided to leave it at that and assume she was fine.
よし、俺たちも行こうぜ。
Great, then we should get going too. We began to run after Mion. The school looked the same as always. The hours passed listlessly, and my lack of sleep took its toll. Where's Satoko? She was missing last night. If there was a sport where people competed by sleeping, I'd be world champion right now. The trick to overcoming this sort of dangerous situation was to hold your pencil upside down. Why, you ask? So you don't draw strange patterns all over your notes while half asleep. If you're holding your pencil upside down, that wouldn't happen, would it? What the fuck was that? Something that felt like an eraser hit me in the head 6 times. Oh wow, what was that for, Satoko? Okay, she's fine.
私は何もしてないでございますわ。
I haven't done a single thing!
お前以外にこんないたずら誰がするんだよ。
Who else would play a prank on me like this?
消しゴムじゃなくてチョークか。
Oh, it was chalk, not an eraser. Eh? A teacher mad at me? Yes. Behind me, like a female outlaw might hold razors, was the teacher's shadow, holding 3 pieces of chalk in each hand. Rumble, rumble, rumble.
前原くん、
My Barakun,
お顔を洗ってらっしゃい。
go and wash your face.
はい。喜んで。
Right, gladly. That alone was enough to wake me up, but I flew out into the hallway as if shoved out by the pressure exuded by the teacher's sheer power. If I was going to wash my face anyway, then I'd rather use the sinks out front, rather than the ones in the dark restroom. Thinking that, I left the hallway and went to the entrance. Sunlight was strong. So strong you wouldn't think it was June. I turned the faucet, and with a lifeless bubbling noise, lukewarm water came pouring out. I let it run for a few months. Would it get cold? I looked at it absent-mindedly for a little while.
やっぱケイちゃんはこっちの流しを選んだか。
I knew you'd choose these sinks, Kei-chan.
表の方が気分いいもんね。
The ones out front just feel better, don't they?
ミオンか。
Mion?
授業サボるなよな。
No cutting class now. I stuck my hands into the water to find it had gotten so cold that it seemed strange it had ever been warm. I scooped it up and splashed it against my face. Once I was done, I moved out of the way and Mion did the same.
ミオン、具合の方はいいのかよ。
Mion, how's your cold doing?
眠いのは寝不足じゃなくて、薬の副作用なんだろ。
You're sleepy because of the medicine, not from lack of sleep, right?
実は内緒なんだけど、昨日はお祭りの後で親族の宴会に巻き込まれちゃってさ。
Actually, this is a secret, but after the festival yesterday, I got wrapped up in the party my relatives were having.
それで、実はエンドレスに突入しちゃって。
And well, I had a bit. A bit. Bailey's playing Risk of Rain too? She made a gesture like she was tilting a cup into her mouth. Which means you didn't have a cold or anything.
つまり、本当に寝不足なのかよ。
You hungover?
徹夜明けならそうと言え、紛らわしい。
How old are you?
勘弁してよ。
Give me a break.
体調が悪いのは本当なんだからさ。
I really don't feel well, you know. I suppose she'd be feeling lousy either way. Still, you treat cold and hangovers in completely different ways.
心配して損したぞ。
I was worried over nothing.
たく、ミオンらしいというかなんというか。
Man, I guess that's just like you, Mion. Mion scratched her head, a little embarrassed. She didn't seem to be feeling well, but now that I knew it was a hangover, I didn't need to worry too much. It would go away with time, after all.
あ、でも頭がガンガンするのは本当。
Oh, but my head really is pounding,
だから
so...
さ、さっき先生に早退していいって言われちゃった。
The teacher told me I should go home early.
あ、ずるいやつ。
You cheater.
じゃあミオンはもうこれで帰りなのか？
So you going home now, Mion? Now that I looked again, Mion had her bag with her. She must have been on her way home.
申し訳ないけどね。
Yep, I feel bad about it though.
今日は家でおとなしく寝させてもらうわ。
I'll get some rest at home like a good girl.
部活できなくて申し訳ないね。
Sorry I can't make it to the club.
今日はケイちゃんがリーダーってことでやってくれない？
Would you take over as leader for today, Kei-chan?
多分無理だと思うぜ。
I don't know if that will happen.
俺たち部活は全員揃った時しかやらないっていう暗黙の了解があるだろ
We have that unspoken rule where we don't do the club unless everyone is there, don't we?
う。ミオンがバイトに行ってる時はいつもそのままお開きだったんだぜ。
We never did it when you had to go to your part-time job, did we? Mion laughed wryly, saying we didn't need to worry about her. No matter how much fun we have, though, I think that feeling guilty about friends who can't share in it is a sign of a really fantastic friendship. In that sense, the club Mion has created is a wonderful thing. As I thought about it, the moisture on my washed face dried up. I suppose we were talking too much. If I didn't get back to the classroom soon, I could get in trouble.
じゃあな。
Okay, later.
俺は教室に戻るぜ。
I'm going back.
帰りは気をつけろよ。
Careful on your way home.
ふらふらして側溝や用水路に落ちるなよ。
Don't wobble into a sewer or a brook, you got it? I left it at that, turned around, and started heading back to the classroom.
そうそう、ケイちゃん。
Oh, one more thing, Kei-chan. Mion stopped me and I turned my head to listen.
なんだ？
What's up?
変なこと聞くけど、深く考えないで答えてね。
This may sound weird, but don't think too hard about it.
それは内容によりけりだな。
Well, that depends on what it is.
昨日の綿流しの晩さ、富武さんと高野さんに会わなかった？
Last night, near the end of the festival, did you see Tomitaki-san or Takano-san anywhere? I suddenly tensed up.
富武さんと高野さんはわかるよね。
You know Tomitaki-san and Takano-san, right?
ほら、ケイちゃん、お祭りの前日準備の時、シオンと一緒に4人でお話ししてたでしょ？
You remember Kei-chan when the four of you were talking during setup the day before? If I could, I wanted to forget about sneaking into the storehouse that night as soon as possible. So hearing the names of the people I was with at the time really got to me. Besides that, though, why was Mion asking me a question like that? I ended up staring at her, unable to answer immediately. Was she asking to see if I had seen them or not? Or was she asking the question knowing that I had? I couldn't tell.
さあ、どうかな。
Well, maybe?
会ったような、会わなかったような。
I might have seen them around, I don't know. My vague response was clearly not to Mion's liking. What answer was she expecting from me? There was no way for me to know.
そう。
I see.
じゃあもう一つ質問ね。
Then one more question.
同じく夕べ、
On the same night,
シオンに会わなかった？
did you see Shion? Me? No. My heart leapt into my throat again. The tiny needles buried underneath Mion's words pricked into me. Didn't you ask me that yesterday?
俺、会ったかどうかわからないって答えたと思ったぜ。
I think I told you that I wasn't sure if I had or not.
ん？そうだっけ？
Did you?
また改めて聞いたら、
Ah!
違う答えが
Ah!
返ってくるかなって思ってさ。
I guess I just thought I'd get a different answer if I asked you again. No, it's back. Oh. The sprites are back. Oh, the Deadeye sprites are back. Suddenly noticed something in Mion's eyes. Something indescribable. Oh. Tomitaki-san and Takano-san. Shion, too. He was asking me about them. There's no doubt about it. Last night, the four of us snuck into the ritual storehouse. She knew everything. So what? It's not really a curse anyway. That's right. Even Shion and Takano-san said yesterday during the festival there was no curse. And that rather than a curse, it was the doing of the villagers. My blood curdled. Mion was, almost without a doubt, aware that we snuck into the storehouse. There was nothing strange. I screwed up bad flipping on the light switch last night. Mion had been searching for me. It was simple to imagine that she had seen that momentary light and come to find out what was going on.
本当に会ってないんだね。
Did you really not see her?
どうして会ったかどうかをそんなに気にするんだよ。
Why are you so intent on knowing if I did or not?
大したことじゃないの。
Not important.
富武さんと高野さんと
It's just there's some
ケイちゃんが
people
ね、悪く言ってる人たちがいるの。
who are speaking poorly of Tomitake-san, Takano-san, Shion, and you, Kei-chan.
何が悪いんだかはよく聞いてないんだけどね。
I didn't really hear what they were saying, though. Unpleasant sweat dripped down my arms, and the sound of it hanging from my fingertips was so annoyingly loud.
私、ケイちゃんが悪いことをするなんて信じてないから。
I don't believe that you were doing something bad.
でも、ちょっとだけ聞いてみたかったから聞いてみたの。
I just wanted to ask a bit about it, so I did. My reaction must have made it obvious what the truth was, yet I couldn't explain myself.
ケイちゃんは、富武さんとも高野さんとも、そしてシオンとも一緒じゃなかった。
Kei-chan, you weren't with Tomitake-san, Takano-san, or Shion,
そうだよね。
right?
ああ、
Yeah. I finally wrung out an answer between ragged breaths. Mion's expression softened a little.
よかった。
That's good.
私言っとくね。
I'll have to tell them.
ケイちゃんは何にも悪いことには加わってないって。
You weren't involved in anything bad, Kei-chan.
みんなにちゃんと言っておくからね。
So I'll make sure to tell everyone. Yeah, please do. Tell them I wasn't doing anything bad. Everyone, make sure. Everyone. Everyone. Who is everyone?
じゃあね。
Okay, later.
明日は元気になってるから。
I'll be better tomorrow.
バイバイ。
Bye-bye. That was ominous. Wait, Mion. What do you mean by everyone? Just then. Freezing cold hand touched the back of my neck.
ほら、
Ah! Hey,
遅いですよ、前原くん。
you're late, my Barakun.
顔を洗うだけなのに時間がかかりすぎです。
How long does it take you to wash your face? He was the teacher. I was taking so long she came out to get me.
あ、すみません。
Oh, I'm sorry.
ついミオンとおしゃべりを。
I was just speaking to Mion. I turned around, but Mion had crossed through the schoolyard without me realizing I was now standing at the gate.
さあ、お勉強に戻りますよ。
Come, back to your studies.
早く早く。
Quickly now. The teacher was being insistent. We returned to the entrance. I looked back one more time, and Mion was nowhere in sight.
ケイチ、今日はずっと元気がないのです。
Keiichi, you haven't seemed well all day.
昨日大はしゃぎしすぎたからに違いありませんわ。
It's clearly because he had far too much fun yesterday.
迷子になって目を真っ赤にさせて半泣きしてたやつに言われたくねえ。
I don't want to be told that by the one who got lost. Your face was all red and you were nearly crying.
ゆうべのさとこちゃん可愛かったよ。はう。
Satoko-chan was so cute last night. Uh-huh. My friends did their best to try and cheer me up. They didn't lighten my mood. Was it far worse than I thought? Had I really done something that terrible last night? These thoughts remained with me for the rest of the day.
じゃあね、ケイチくん。
Bye, Kichi-kun.
また明日ね。
I'll see you tomorrow. By the time I realized it, I was in front of my own house.
みーちゃんも風邪だったみたいだけど、ひょっとしてケイチくんもなのかなかな。
Michan had a cold, right? Could you have a cold too, Kichi-kun? Could you?
え、大丈夫だよ。
Huh? I'm fine.
こう見えても風邪で休んだことはないんだぜ。
I may look scrawny, but I've never missed school because of a cold.
でも、みーちゃんもケイチくんも 今日は具合が悪そうだし。
Both you and Michan didn't look so good today, though.
気にしてくれてありがとな。
Thanks for worrying about me.
大丈夫。バカは風邪ひかないんだぜ。
I'm fine. Idiots don't catch colds, remember? Rena smiled, then waved to me and left. Ooh. Thank goodness they're alive. I was horrified. With my shoulders bobbing up and down from breathing heavily, I entered the house. At the very least, we know that the main gang hasn't died yet from Watanagashi. Now, who has died and disappeared? I don't know yet. So we're gonna have to find out. As soon as I got back in, Mom called out to me.
何?
What?
ケイチ、
Keiichi?
悪いんだけど図書館に行って本を返してきてくれない？
I'm sorry, but could you go to the library and return a few books for me?
めんどくさいな。
I don't feel like it.
お父さんも母さんも今ね、ちょっと電話待ちをしてるところで家を開けられないの。
Your dad and I have to wait inside the house for a phone call right now, so we can't leave.
返却期限も今日までだし、お願いできない？
I need to return them today. Could you please do it? Sheesh. Does it have to do with Dad's job? No point in arguing if they bring that up.
仕方ないな。
I guess so, but
でも俺、図書館がどこにあるか知らないよ。
I don't know where the library is.
あら、知らないの？
Oh, you don't?
沖宮の駅前をちょっと進んで。
It's a little bit past Okinomiya Station. Just then, the phone rang. My parents' faces immediately turned grim. Mom snatched up the receiver.
もしもし、
Hello?
前原です。はい？
Bara speaking. I'm sorry?
はい、おりますけど。
Yes, he's right here. Then she thrust the receiver at my face.
ケイチに電話よ。
It's for you, Keiichi.
早めに終わらせてね。
Don't take too long, okay? I tried to ask who it was from, but asking the person on the phone directly would be faster.
もしもし。
Hello?
園崎の妹の方です。
Ah, this is Sonozaki. Well, the younger one.
こんにちは。
Hello.
今はお時間大丈夫ですか？
Do you have time to talk right now? It was Shion. The older sister had a hangover today, but the younger made no reference to it.
シオンか。
Shion?
ミオンと同じで、今日は徹夜明けで寝込んでるんじゃないかと思ったぜ。
I thought you'd be sleeping in today with a hangover, same as Mion.
え？
What?
それじゃあおね、今日はずる休みですか？
Mion had a hangover?
おねらしい。
That's so like her. She laughed warmly, but Mom glared at me, silently telling me to finish up.
ごめんな。
Oops, sorry.
ちょっと親が電話待ちをしてるんで、そんなに長話はできないんだ。
My parents are waiting for an important call, so I can't talk for too long.
何の用だ？
What do you need?
お話ししたいことがあったんですけど、長電話が無理じゃ仕方ないですね。
There's something I wanted to talk about, but if we can't talk long, I guess that's that. She sounded a little disappointed. What would Shion want to talk to me about? Now I was interested.
じゃあさ、会って話をしないか？
What about we meet in person?
ついでに図書館にも案内してもらえるとありがたい。
If you could show me where the library is too, that'd be great.
図書館って駅前の私立図書館ですか？
You mean the public library near the station?
別にいいですよ。
Yes, that's fine.
バイトのついでってことで。
I go past there on my way to work anyway.
じゃあ、いつもミオンと待ち合わせてる場所わかるか？
Okay. You know where I usually meet up with Mion?
園崎家の小道に分かれる分岐の。
At that intersection where the small path from the Sonozaki house splits.
ケイちゃん、
Oh,
言
Kei-chan.
ってませんでしたっけ？
Did I not tell you?
私、本家じゃなくて、沖宮の家に住んでるんですよ。
I don't live at the main house. I live in Okinomiya.
だから、待ち合わせ場所は、沖宮駅の改札前なんかにしてくれた方が嬉しいんですけど。
If we could meet by the ticket machines at Okinomiya Station, that'd be great. Main house? Living in Okinomiya? Now that she mentioned it, it always seemed like the Sonozaki sisters weren't communicating. They live in different houses? They told you this, bro. Also, now that she mentioned it, Rena said she'd never met the younger sister, despite going over to play sometimes.
じゃあ、駅に集合な。
Let's meet at the station then.
すぐに行くよ。
I'll go there right away.
じゃあ。
Bye. I set the receiver down, and Mom immediately thrust a large pile of library books into my face. 6 volumes of long-form mystery novels. Mom had her own hobbies.
ケイチ、よろしくね。
Thank you, Keiichi.
お夕飯までには帰るのよ。
Be back by nightfall.
えい。
Got it.
じゃあ行ってくれよ。
Okay, I'm going. I suppose I'd change my clothes and grab my bike key. I climbed the stairs to my bedroom. Shion had been waiting for me already, so meeting up with was a smooth
ミ
process.
オンと違ってシオンは待ち合わせ時間を守るな。
Wow, Mio never keeps her appointments.
しみじみ。
I mean, honestly.
おねんを標準にされるといろいろと困ります。
Making my sister the standard for everything will get you in trouble. Hmm? Shion seemed a little unsteady, too. She was drinking with Mion last night, wasn't she?
お前も夕べは寝てないんだろ。
You didn't get any sleep last night either, did you?
隠しても無駄だぞ。
Don't try and hide it.
で、学校を早退したに違いない。
You definitely went home from school early.
残念でした。
Ooh, too bad.
私はそもそも今日はずる休みしてますので。
I've been at home all day in the first place.
私、おねんより容量いいですから。
I'm smarter than Mion, after all. Hey. I don't think you can call playing hooky smarter.
じゃあ、先に用事を片付けます？
You should finish your errand first.
時間もそんなにないですから。
We don't have that much time.
図書館へ行くんですよね。
We're going to the library, right?
ああ、頼むよ。
Yeah, thanks.
お袋の借りてる本の返却期限が今日までらしいんで。
My mom had to return some books by today.
図書館は遠いのか？
Is the library far?
すぐ近くですよ。
No, it's really close by. As she said that, we spotted the signboard for the library almost immediately. It was this easy to find, then I guess I didn't need Shion to show me where it was after all. We rode around a bend and the building was right there. Shishibone Public Library. We lived in the country, so I hadn't expected too much, but it was pretty big. The first floor was actually a government office, so the library was only on the second floor, but it still looked large enough to fit a decent collection of books. We passed through the automatic doors and were greeted by the cool breeze of an air curtain. The cicadas had been loud outside, but it was quiet inside the library. The air conditioning inside was keeping the temperature at an ideal level for the books, which had the mildewy smell unique to old paper.
どこの図書館も似たようなもんだな。
I guess every library is basically the same. There was one difference. It was that the people studying for tests weren't taking up all the seats. I was one of those people, but now that seemed like a distant memory.
すみません、返却に来ました。
Hello, I have books I'd like to return. The librarian went through the process of checking them in and then returned my mom's library card. Shion was going around the bookshelves with a deeply interested look on her face, like she wasn't the type who went to libraries very often.
悪いな、お待たせ。
Sorry for the
終
wait.
わったよ。
I'm all done.
図書館って涼しくていいところですね。
Libraries sure are nice and cool, aren't they?
私、将来は図書館で働きたいです。
I want to work in a library one day.
地味というか堅実というか、姉と比べると随分とささやかな希望だな。
Don't know whether to call that boring or dependable. It's a pretty small dream compared to your sister. Mion would definitely want to be a hardworking employee for an international trading company, or some other crazy job that involved her running around the world. Compared to that, what Shion said is pretty heartwarming.
まあ、互いの持ち味を大切にしたいですよね。
Well, we need to keep our differences dear to us.
私たち、分身じゃなくて、シオンとミオンというちゃんとした個人なんですから。
We're not copies. We're two different people called Shion and Mion.
双子は双子なりにいろいろと考えてるんだな。
Twins have a lot to think about, huh?
でも楽しそうだよな。
Still, it sounds like fun.
俺には兄弟はいないから、うちには俺以外は親しかいない。
I don't have any brothers, so there's just me and my parents at my house.
窮屈なもんだよ。
It can get a little uncomfortable.
私だってそうです。
It's the same for me.
お姉とは一緒に住んでるわけじゃないですから。
I don't live with Mion after all. Oh, right, she said something like that, didn't she? Why, though? Sisters living apart is unusual. We were getting tired of talking while we were walking. We ended up going to the lounge area, which was vacant, and continuing the conversation.
え、
Yes.
お姉は本家に、私は沖宮の家に住んでるんです。
Mion lives at the main house, and I live in Okinomiya.
本家ってなんだ？
What do you mean by main house?
随分と立派な響きがあるけどな。
You make it sound like you're nobility.
本家は本家です。
It's just the main house.
園崎家の本家。
The Sonozaki family's main house.
お姉は跡取りだから、バッチャと一緒に住んで、いろいろと当主としての修行をさせられてるみたいです。
Mion's the successor, so she lives with Nana and apparently studies all sorts of things as preparation to be head of the family. Mion, the head of the family? It kind of fit her personality, but kind of didn't too.
ケイちゃんは引っ越してきたばかりでしたよね。
Kei-chan, you just moved here, right?
自分で言うのもなんですけど、園崎家ってここいらじゃ結構名士なんですよ。
This will sound like I'm boasting, but we of the Sonozaki family are kind of personages around here.
本当かよ。
Huh? Seriously? The word personage didn't really match the extremely sociable air that Mion and Shion gave off. From what Shion explained, the Sonozaki family goes way back to the beginnings of Hinamizawa. After the war, they had a bunch of successful ventures and extended their influence to a wide area.
園崎家はですね、親族全体で助け合う土壌があるんです。
The Sonozaki house is a foundation under which the entire family cooperates.
今の当主のバッチャが築き上げたんですけどね。
Though the current family head grandma was the one who built it. The entire family would provide backup to help one relative with a business venture. They're like a huge living company. This let them avoid tax-related problems and help relatives' ventures succeed, one after another, using large amounts of money.
沖宮の街を歩くことがあったら、看板とかを意識してみてください。
If you ever go for a walk through Okinomiya, pay attention to the signboards and stuff.
園崎の親族が経営しているお店ってとても多いんですよ。
There's a ton of shops that are managed by members of the Sonozaki family.
言われてみれば、
Now that you mention it,
例のおもちゃ屋も親類の人が経営してるみたいだったな。
that toy store looked like it was managed by relatives as well.
そういえば、エンジェルモートも親類の人が経営してるんじゃないのか？
Does that mean your relatives operate Angel Mort too? Keiichi, you've been told this. Even what few shops I was familiar with were involved with the Sonozaki family. It was definitely surprising.
特に金融不動産関係は強いですね。
The family is particularly strong in finance and real estate.
あと商工会議所の役員も何割かは園崎姓かその親類がついてます。
Even a lot of members of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry either have the last name Sonozaki or are their relatives.
沖宮一帯を評伝に市議会議員と県議会議員にも園崎がいますし、
There are Sonozakis in the city council and the prefectural assembly too, since they have the Okinomiya area giving them strong electoral support.
ちょっと待て。
Wait a minute.
なんだかすごい話になってきたぞ。
This is all escalating pretty quickly. Her relatives operate shops in downtown Okinomiya, and they're especially strong in finance and real estate. On top of that, a lot of those in the Chamber of Commerce and Industry are relatives, and they're even people elected to local offices.
ひょっとして、
So then,
園崎家ってこの辺り一帯じゃすごいんじゃ。
the Sonozaki family, it's pretty famous in this area.
ねえ、
Ah! What up, old man? Yes,
すごいんです。
it's crazy.
うんうんうん
You got business? All of a sudden, a cigarette-smoking, overweight old man interrupted our conversation. Wait, I know this guy.
どうも、
Hello.
こんにちは。
Good afternoon.
今日はデートですかな？
Are you on a date today?
羨ましいですね。
Ah, what I would give to be young again.
そうだと思ったら邪魔しないでほしかったですね。
If you thought we were on a date, then why are you bothering us?
大石さん、
Uishi-san. That was it. He was Uishi-san, a police officer. Thought it was this person who came to my rescue when I got involved with those delinquents before. Now that I thought about it, Mion didn't seem to like him very much.
いえいえ、すみません。
No, I apologize.
知ってる声が聞こえてきたので、ついつい。
I heard a familiar voice, so I came over to see. Uishi-san left coarsely, not showing any sign of giving up. As Shion watched him do so, I didn't feel the same sense of malice from her as I had from Mion.
前原さんでしたよね。
Maibara-san, right?
あなた かもタフな人ですね。
You're one tough guy.
園崎姉妹を二股かけるなんて。
Two-timing the Sonozaki sisters, are you?
いや、そんな二股だなんて。
No, I'm not two-timing anyone. I turned around to look at Shion and plead for help, but she grinned and maintained her silence. Her gaze wandered. She looked at the clock.
ごめんなさい、ケイちゃん。
Ah, I'm sorry, Kei-chan.
私もうバイトの時間なんです。
I really need to get to my job. Huh?
そうなのか？
Oh, did you? Wait, does Shion have something to talk about today? Now this weird man is here, though.
また今度。
Yep, I'll see you later.
バイトが終わったら電話します。
Oh, I'll give you a call after I'm done.
夜なら電話大丈夫ですよね。
It'll be okay to call at night, right?
ああ、
Yeah,
大丈夫だと思う。
probably okay.
じゃあ今夜電話しますのでその時に。
But I'll talk to you later tonight. Bye. Bye. Shion left so fast she was practically running. Uishi-sen was waving at me with a grin. I felt like I'd been left here as bait so she could get away. Maybe she was lying about having to go to work.
園崎のご令嬢とこれだけ親しくできるなんて、前原さんもなかなかの大物ですね。
You're quite the big shot being so close to the Sonozaki daughters.
私も口の利き方を改めた方がいいかもしれません。
Maybe I should rethink how I talk to you too. Uishi-san put a coin into a vending machine as he said something a bit appalling.
アイスティーでいいですか？
Is iced tea okay with you?
ミルクは入れます？
You want milk in it?
え？
Huh?
あ、いえ。
Oh, no,
じゃあ入れますよ。
I'll put some in then, alright?
はいどうぞ。
Here you are. He handed me a cup of tea, filled to the brim with ice, as I looked on absent-mindedly. I don't think I'm obligated to have a guy like this buy me a drink, but he did get it for me, so I'll thank him. Was Uishi-san just killing time? We didn't know each other well, but he still engaged me in conversation about all sorts of dumb things. When I thought back to how I talked with Shion, this seemed like a total disaster.
前原さんは園崎さんのことをどれくらいご存知で？
Maibara-san, how much do you know about Sonozaki-san?
さっき聞いた以上のことは何も。
Other than what I heard just now, nothing. Until then, I hadn't known anything about either Mion or Shion, other than the fact that they were interesting. I really did only just learn that she was the daughter of some prestigious family.
園崎家はこの地域一帯を牛耳ってるヤクザ屋さんです。
The Sonozakis are a Yakuza group with this entire region under their thumb.
ちなみに彼女のお父さんは関東でも有名なヤクザの大幹部さんです。
Plus, her father is a higher-ranked executive in the XX Yakuza Association.
ご存知でした？
Did you know that?
え？
What?
大幹部って。
An executive?
シオンさんのご自宅をご存知ないんですか？
Have you ever seen where Shion-san lives?
高い塀に有刺鉄線と監視カメラで守られた典型的なヤクザの組長宅ですよ。
It's the very picture of a gang boss's house, protected by high walls, barbed wire fence, and security cameras.
今度ぜひ遊びに行ってみてください。
If you have the chance, you should go and visit her. She'd mentioned Mion being a successor, but a Yakuza group?
いえいえいえいえいえいえ。
No.
まさかまさか。
Not at all, not at all.
園崎美音さんが継ぐのはそんなちんけなヤクザ組織だけじゃありません。
A boring old Yakuza group isn't the only thing Mion Sonozaki-san will inherit.
彼女が継ぐのは園崎家そのものですよ。
He's inheriting the Sonozaki family itself.
そのあたりの意味、ちょっと噛み締めていただけますかな。
I'll leave it to you to mull over what exactly that means. Uishi-san had spoken lightly about all this from start to finish. What he was saying wasn't light in the least. It was abrupt and unbelievable.
ミオンさんがその気になれば、往来の真ん中で人殺しをしたってもみ消せちゃうかもしれないんですよ。
Mion-san wanted to. She could kill someone in the middle of the street and still cover it up.
証人は現れないだろうし、警察にだって圧力をかけられますし。
Not only would witnesses not show up, but she put pressure on the police too.
ミオは人殺しなんかしないぞ。
Mion would never kill someone.
しませんしません、ものの例えですよ。
She wouldn't, she wouldn't. I'm just speaking hypothetically.
大石さんでしたっけ？
Your name, it
名
was
前。
Uishi-san, right?
ねえ、そうです。
Yes, that's right.
大石さん、
Then Uishi-san.
ミオンの家が何だろうと、ミオンは俺の誇れる最高の友人です。
Whatever family Mion comes from, it doesn't change the fact that she's the best friend I could ever have, and I'm proud of that.
それをあまりけなすような言い方は好きになれないですね。
I don't appreciate people speaking ill of her. I let my quiet anger show through in my gaze as I stared at him. Of course, I could never seem to tell what he's thinking, so I didn't know if it had any effect.
では、ザック・バランに。
Let me be frank.
そのミオンさんにいくつかの事件の嫌疑がかかっているとしたらどう思います？
If Mion-san was suspected of a handful of incidents, what would you think? Suspected? Incidents? You can't just say terrible stuff like that on a whim.
何かの誤解に決まってるじゃないですか。
Then it would be a misunderstanding, of course.
ミオンは物騒なことを言うやつだけど、そんな悪いことをするようなやつじゃない。
Mion may say some dangerous things, but she's not the kind of person who would do something so awful.
前原さん、お静かにお静かに。
Mabara-san, keep your voice down.
ここ、図書館ですから。
We're in a library. Uishi-san shushed me, but in a state of heightened excitement as I was, I wouldn't be calm so easily.
落ち着いてください。
Please, calm down.
さっきも申し上げました通り、園崎家はいい意味でも悪い意味でも、この辺り一帯で強い力を持っているんです。
As I said before, the Sonozaki family holds a lot of power in this region, for better or worse.
ですから、ちょっと何かあるとすぐに疑いがかかってしまう。
So if anything happens, they would immediately be suspect.
その辺りをご理解いただきたいのですよ。
I'd appreciate it if you understood that. Well, I know what Uishi-san is trying to say. Combining it with what Shion told me before, the Sonozaki family is huge and controls everything from Hinamizawa to Okinomiya. Mion, meanwhile, is its successor, who apparently holds strong influence over the entire family. Still, that's all? That's the only reason they're suspecting her?
ですから、私だって仕事で仕方なくやってるんです。
I'm just doing my job here.
ミオンさんを疑うためでなく、ミオンさんの疑いを晴らすために捜査をしている。そうお考えいただきたいのです。
Not to doubt Mion-san of anything, but to clear up suspicion surrounding her. Please think of it like that. You could talk a dog out of a meat truck. He was the definition of a shrewd, unfair adult. At this point, I began to think that it was no coincidence I'd met him.
大石さん、ひょっとして俺に用なんですか？
Uishi-san, do you need something from me?
ねえ、そうですよ。
Yes, I do.
前原圭一さん。
Ichimabara-san. He answered in an absent tone of voice.
何かの事件でミオンを疑っていて、その友人の俺に何か聞きに来た。
Mion's being suspected of something, and you came to hear from a friend of hers, me.
そういうことですか？
Is that it?
いえいえ、違います。
No, no, that isn't it.
私は園崎ミオンさんの友人と話をしに来たのではなく、前原圭一さんに話をしに来たのです。
I didn't come to talk to a friend of Mion Sonozaki-san. I came here to talk to Kichimabara-san.
ご自宅にお伺いしたらご迷惑でしたでしょうからね。
It would probably have bothered you had I visited your house.
俺に
To me?
警察が何の用だって言うんですか？
What do the police want with me? Having realized this faked coincidental meeting had me as its target, my mood suddenly immediately turned foul.
そんなに構えなくて大丈夫ですよ。
You don't need to be so tense.
肩を楽にして、ちょっと質問に答えてくださるだけでいいんです。
Calm down and just answer a few questions.
それって職務質問ってやつですか？
Am I being questioned?
偶然知り合ったおじさんとの世間話ってことにしましょう。
Let's call it a chat with a guy you happen to run into. Uishi-san freely suggested that I relax. That said, behind his eyes was a light, which I could only see sometimes, that was sharp as a hawk. If I tried in vain to run away, he might actually take me in and bring me to an interrogation room or something. That was an undoubtedly unpleasant thought.
昨べは渡流しのお祭り、盛大で楽しかったですね。
You had a roaring good time at the Watanagashi festival last night, didn't you?
はぐらかさないでください。
Don't beat around the bush, please.
今さら世間話なんかされても。
Can't do small talk right now.
昨日の渡流しの晩、
Last night during the festival,
富武二郎さんと高野美代さんにお会いしませんでしたか？
did you see Jiro Tomitake-san and Mio Takano-san? Gulp. I could plainly feel myself give a start.
あれ、写真はどこに行っちゃったかな？
Where did I put those pictures?
あ
Oh,
あ、あったあった。
here they are. He opened a small notebook and removed 2 photographs. I didn't have to look.
さあ、
well,
どうでしょ
who knows?
う。あったような、合わなかったような。
Might have seen them around, I don't remember. I was asked the same question for the second time today. I gave the same answer for the second time too.
あれ？記憶が曖昧ですか？
Your memories are blurry?
まさかアルコールが入っててよく覚えてないなんてのはなしにしてくださいよ。
You couldn't have possibly been drinking or anything. Here too, I got the same answers I had from Mion. I realized he wasn't taking my vague reply well. Why is he asking me the same thing Mion did? The dark feelings I had nearly forgotten due to my conversation with Shion came rushing back in a hurry. He snuck into the sacred ritual storehouse, a punishable act. It was on a tiny impulse. While it may not count for much now, I do feel sorry about it.
もう一度お聞きしますよ。
Oh, he's serious. I'll ask you again.
ゆうべのお祭りで富武二郎さんと高野美代さんにお会いしませんでしたか？
Did you see Jiro Tomitake-san and Mio Takano-san at the festival last night? His tone was soft. There's a dreadfulness in his voice, clearly different from the first time he asked. I'm scared. That was exactly how I felt.
と、繰り返し聞かれても、答えはさっきと同じです。
Even if you repeat the question, my answer won't change. I don't really remember. There wasn't any better answer I could give him. I didn't have the balls to say I didn't see them, nor the courage to admit that I had.
そうですか。
I see.
改めて聞けば、さっきとは違う答えが返ってくるかなと思いましてね。
I just thought that maybe I'd get a different answer if I asked a second time. I'm too scared to look Uishi-san in the eyes.
では、質問を変えます。
I'll change the question.
ほら、前原さん。
Come, Maibara-san.
リラックス、リラックス。
Relax, relax. Uishi-san grabbed my shoulders and squeezed them as if trying to give me a massage. It mostly just hurt, though. Still, why would he ask the same things as Mion? If he's asking the same things, then the next question must be...
同じく夕べのお祭りなんですが、園崎しおんさんにお会いしませんでしたか？
On the same night of the festival, did you see Shion Sonozaki-san? I wondered what that sound was, and when I looked down, I saw there was the unmelted ice in the cup I was gripping in my hands. My hands were trembling, rocking the ice back and forth. Realizing that, I hastily put the remaining ice in my mouth and crunched down on it.
すみません。
Sorry.
あったかもしれないですけど、ほら、ミオにもそっくりですから。
I may have seen her, but, well, you know, she looks just like Mion.
ミオンと見間違えてるかも。
I might have just mistaken the two.
そんなわけはないでしょう。
But that can't be. Suddenly, Uichi-san grabbed both my shoulders and hunched down to give me a level stare. This must be what it's like to be a deer in the headlights. I want to look away, but I can't. This is the first time I've experienced such a piercing stare. I want this sprite. Send me this after the stream.
ミオンさんもシオンさんも服装は全然違うんですから。
Mion-san and Shion-san wear completely different clothing.
そう簡単に見間違えるはずはありませんよ。
You wouldn't mistake the two so easily, I would think.
前原さん。
Maibara-san. His voice was harsh. Harsh, the same as when Mion said it. I could feel my heartbeat quickening. When I realized he could feel it through the hands on my shoulders, I got even more scared. Why are Mion and Nuishi-san asking about last night? We're sneaking into that storehouse so bad? I shouldn't have let Takano-san talk me into it. Tomodachi-san casually said to check it out too, so... Even Shion, she hadn't encouraged me. No, I understood. I was the one most at fault here. I shouldn't have let my curiosity get the better of me. I shouldn't have gone into the forbidden storehouse. Ah! Uishi-san. I think that's our cue to get out of here. A young man wearing a suit came into the lounge. From the way he held himself, I knew immediately that he was Uishi-san's subordinate.
Hmm? あれは本当だ。
Hmm? Oh, so it is.
もう閉館なんですね。
Closing time already? I hadn't realized it until he said something. The jingle and announcement telling patrons of the library had closed had started playing without me realizing it. I was so irritated, so overwhelmed that I couldn't even hear it.
じゃあ前原君。
Well then,
も
Maibara-kun.
うこんな時間なんで私たちは失礼させてもらいます。
We're out of time, so allow me to take my leave.
このお話はもっと時間のある時にのんびりといたしましょう。
I'd like to talk with you more about this at your leisure, when we have more time. This isn't a joke. If I never saw him again, it would be too soon. Uishi-san followed his subordinate and left the lounge behind him. However, he spun back around.
そうそう前原さん。
Oh, right, Maibara-san.
何ですか?
What is it?
さっきさせてもらった2つの質問ですが。
Those two questions I asked you before.
どちらの回答もよく覚えてないでしたよね。
You don't remember well enough to answer either of them, correct?
はい。
Right.
参考までに。
Just so you know.
あなた、昨日全員にお会いしてますよ。
You saw them all yesterday.
4人で楽しそうに歩いてたじゃないですか。
You were walking along, the four of you, having quite a pleasant time.
石段のところで。
Near the stone steps.
私がこの目で見てますから。
I saw you with my own eyes. Ugh. I caught my breath and my heart seemed like it was about to stop. What a detestable person. He knew. He was testing me.
ではまたお会いしましょう。
We'll meet again.
良いお年を。
Have a good year. I sat there like a rock, unmoving, so I could no longer hear the clacking sounds of their footsteps. Well, shit. They caught me. I was on my way back home. Crowds of the Higurashi accentuated the already lonely evening. More time had passed than I thought. The orange of the dusky sky was being chased down little by little by an indigo color approaching from the east. Exhausted from the slow climb toward Tinimizawa, without even noticing, I'd gotten off my bicycle and was pushing it uphill. I don't understand any of this. No one had told me to my face that I'd done something wrong. No, in fact, it might have been much easier on me that way. What happened yesterday really was just my curiosity. It really was no more than a quiet prank. No more than having the courage to cross at a red light as long as you did it with other people. Storehouse for ritual implements. Hallowed ground, only accessible to the family of the priest. For sure, I'd seen terrifying things that I'd never imagined would be there. Thinking on it now, though, it didn't matter what was stored inside. It didn't make the wrong I'd committed any more right. What the four of us did, Mion seemed to know about it. For some reason, even the police were trying to learn what the four of us did. Did we do something so bad? Really? Doesn't matter how wrong it was. We did something wrong. There's nothing more than that, and yet... couldn't accept it. I didn't apologize to Mion or Rishi-san. All I did was shield myself with ambiguities. I did something wrong yesterday. I set foot into a forbidden storehouse for a little bit of mischief. I'll forget everything I saw in there. I won't ever do something like that again, either. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. If I apologize like that, would they forgive me? The suddenly cool evening air left no room for such sentiment, however, as it mercilessly chilled my feet, urging me to head home as soon as possible. In the end, the evening air was correct. If I trudged along such an isolated road, regrets would pile on top of regrets, but nothing would change. Let's go home. I'll go home, go to my room, put on my favorite music or something, and go to bed. That might sound plain and boring. It's probably the strongest I've felt all day. Ooh. Now that I've made a decision, there's no point in dawdling in a place like this. I sat back on my bike. I pushed hard on the pedals. I rapidly advanced forward. I steadily gained speed. The wind was cutting and mercilessly cold. It actually felt good, as if it were softly punishing me. I didn't eat much dinner before excusing myself early and returning to my bedroom. My mom called me from downstairs. Keiichi, you have a call. It's from Sonozaki-san. Sonozaki? Was it Mion? No, it was Shion. I just remembered. She'd had something she wanted to tell me today. Luigi-san had interrupted us, so she didn't get the chance. Shion had said she'd call tonight. Hello? Is that you, Shion? Hello. Ran into a bit of trouble today, didn't we? She said it so plainly that I got a bit annoyed. She was the one who left me there and ran. Don't say that. I gave you the signal to run away with me, didn't I? You just sat there looking dazed, Kei-chan. I wasn't dazed. All of a sudden you left me there, and after that I had to put up with that Oishi guy for ages. Don't complain to me about it. I can't believe she passed it off like that. She looks just like Mion, and yet inside she's this different. I got a little irritated at myself when I realized I was, somewhere in my mind, hoping for the same reaction I would get from Mion, even though she's a different person. Sorry. Next time I'll run away first thing and leave you there. Hey, it's ladies first. Shion laughed refreshingly. When I heard her voice, I realized that she wasn't really that angry or anything. It was just as she said. The cause of my temper was because it was my own fault for not leaving immediately. I'll stop blaming it on others. Blaming it on others would be... Anyway, you had something to tell me, right? Oh, yeah. I mean, if you already know, then it's not something that bears repeating. You already know? Shion lowered her voice suddenly as if she were glancing around. I had no idea what I could already know. Sorry, but I have no clue what you're talking about. At least give me a hint. So that means you don't know. She seemed to take my stupid-sounding question as evidence. However, her voice didn't sound disappointed or exasperated in the slightest.
実は昨日の綿流しのお祭りの晩なんですけど。
Actually, it's about last night, during the Watanagashi festival. My entire body jolted as I was assailed by a terrible feeling. Is Shion gonna ask the same thing?
もしもし
Hello?
ケイちゃん、聞いてます？
Hey-chan, are you listening?
あ、
Yeah,
聞いてる。
I am.
昨日の晩どうしたんだよ。
What about last night?
私たち4人入ったじゃないですか。
The four of us went in there, right? She didn't beat around the bush. Whether or not I wanted to admit it, that was the actual honest truth, and I couldn't act like it hadn't happened.
それでその後みんなで歩いて石段のあたりで私たちみんな別れましたよね。
Then, after that, we walked away together, and then we went our separate ways near the stone stairs, right?
高野さんたちは沢に行ってケイちゃんはその場に残って
Takano-san and Tomitaka-san went to the stream, and you stayed there, Kei-chan.
私は親類の人たちのところに行っちゃって
I went over to see some relatives.
あ
Yeah.
あ、それがどうした？
Why do you ask?
お互い質問の返し合いになっちゃうと拉致が開かないんで私からまず質問します。
We won't make any progress if we keep asking each other questions, so let me ask this question first.
いいですか？
Okay?
ゆうべ、富武さんと高野さんに会いませんでしたか？
You mean, did I see Tomitake-san and Takano-san last night? Huh?
はい。
Oh, yes.
あの後あの二人には会いましたか？
Did you see the two of them after that? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't surprised. This is the third time I've been asked this question today. Why? Why? What the hell was going on?
どうしてだよ。
Why?
だからどうしてそれを俺に聞くんだよ。
Why are you asking me that?
ほらほら、ケイちゃん。
No, Kei-chan.
質問は私からのはずです。
I'm asking the
答え
question.
てください。
Please answer me.
シオンはあったのか？
Did you, Shion?
シオンが先に答えたら俺も答える。
You answer first, then I'll answer. My shabby response betrayed how scared and small I felt now, after everything that had happened today. Shion didn't say anything for a few moments. Just as I was beginning to think I'd really put my foot in my mouth with that response, she finally answered me.
もちろん会ってません。
Of course, I didn't see them.
一緒にいた親類が証明できます。
My relatives were with me, and they can vouch for that.
俺だって会ってない。
I didn't see them either.
証明って言うなら、ミオンとかレナとかみんながしてくれる。
People can vouch for me too, like Mia and Rena and everyone else. Now that we knew our answers matched, she let out a sigh that sounded more relieved than anything else.
正直に答えてくれて。
Thank you for answering me honestly.
じゃあ言いますね。
Okay, then, I'll tell you.
ゆうべ高野さんと富武さんが死んだんだそうです。
Apparently last night, Takano-san and Tomitake-san died.
ごめん、シオン。
Sorry, Shion.
今、なんて言った？
What was that you just said?
ゆうべ高野さんと富武さんが死んだんだそうです。
Apparently last night, Takano-san and Tomitake-san died.
高野さんは焼死体で
Takano-san was found burned to death.
富武さんは自殺みたいな感じで
Tomitake-san was... well, it looked like a suicide. Oh, so she was the burned one.
今朝知ったんです。
I found out this morning.
お父さんが親類の人からの電話で話してるのを聞いて
I heard my dad talking to a relative on the phone about it. Late last night, a police car on its way back from the festival security duty had discovered Tomitake-san lying in the middle of the road heading towards Okinomiya. He had clawed out his throat and died.
なんだよ。喉をかきむしっての自殺って。
What? He clawed out his own throat?
あの明るそうな富武さんが自殺？
That bright, cheerful Tomitake-san committed suicide?
何かの間違いだろ？
That can't possibly be right.
警察がちゃんと検視したんです。
The police did an autopsy.
自分の爪で
He did it with his own fingernails.
ガリガリと喉をかきむしって血管を破いて血をドバドバ出して
He scratched at his throat so hard that he ruptured his blood vessels and bled out.
自分の血で溺れ死んだんだって
He died in a pool of his own blood, that's what they said.
そんなバカな自殺聞いたことないぞ。
I never heard of such an insane suicide.
自分の喉をかき破るなんておかしすぎる。
You can't just scratch open your own throat like that. I realized I was yelling too loudly, so I lowered the force I was putting into my voice. I didn't want my parents to hear me, so I switched to the cordless phone and ran up to my own room.
大声出してごめん。
Sorry for yelling.
で、
So,
高野さんも自殺なのか？
was Takano-san, was that a suicide too?
高野さんは自殺かどうかちょっと。
In her case, it's a little unclear. Takano-san's body was found in the mountains of Gifu Prefecture. Employees at a rest stop nearby reported to the police late that night that they could see flames in the mountains. The firefighters dispatched there were the first ones to find her. An autopsy concluded there was the burned corpse of a half-naked female. They initially considered the body beyond recognition, but directly after, there was a request for a dental comparison from the Prefectural Police Station in Okinomiya, and the results concluded that it was Mio Takano. The cause of death wasn't confirmed, but it was highly likely to have been a homicide, since she was in her undergarments and her clothing were nowhere in the area.
灯油缶が転がってたそうなんで、焼身自殺の線もあるそうです。
The oil drum had fallen over, so it's also possible she burned herself to death.
自殺なわけあるものか。
It couldn't possibly have been suicide.
同じ死ぬならもっと楽な方法がいくらでもあるだろう。
If you're gonna die, there are plenty of easier ways, aren't there?
こんなの絶対に自殺なものか。
This can't be suicide.
私だってそう思ってます。
That's what I think.
富武さんのだって自殺だなんて考えられない。
It's unthinkable that Tomitake-san would kill himself too. After the two of us rattled on at each other, there was silence as we paused to catch our breaths. And as we calmed our nerves, right then I understood what Shion's story actually meant.
お社様のたたりってことになると思います。
I think it will end up being Oyashiro-sama's curse.
私たち語られるのに十分な資格がありますから。
We all did more than enough to deserve it after all.
資格って冗談じゃないぞ。
Deserve? You've got to be kidding.
別に俺は。
It's not like Shion wanted to see it with me. I just went along with her. I tried to say that, but I fell silent. Nothing would come of me blaming others. Didn't matter how much everyone else encouraged me. Could have put my foot down. I lost my own half-assed sense of adventure and agreed to go in with them. Yes, it was my fault, no one else's.
シオン。
Shion.
お前は昨べ細工殿の中に忍び込んだらこうなるかもしれないと予想はついてたのか？
Last night when we snuck into the ritual storehouse, did you predict things would turn out this way?
まさか。
Of course not.
そりゃ多少はやばいとは思いましたけど、こんなことになるなんて夢にも思いませんでした。
I mean, I thought it was pretty risky, but I never even dreamed something like this could happen. Shion's words were probably her true feelings. She knew she could get in trouble if we were caught, but that was the thrill of this little adventure. It was the same for me.
それよりもケイちゃん、
Besides that,
ちょっ
Kei-chan,
とよく考えてください。
think about it for a moment.
今年のお社様のたたりはおかしくないですか？
Didn't Oishiro-sama's curse turn out a little strange this year? It was already pretty strange, seeing as how Tomitake-san and Takano-san died like that. Given all that, what could possibly be stranger?
死体が2つ見つかったってことです。
I mean that they found two
言い
corpses.
ましたよね。
Remember what I said?
例年は1人が死んで1人が消えるんです。
Every other year, one person would die and one person would disappear.
2人の死亡が確認されたのは今年が初めてです。
This year is the first time two people have been found dead.
確かにそうかもしれないけどそんなのは大した問題じゃないだろう。
That may be true, but that's not a huge deal, is it?
いいえ、ケイちゃん。
It is, Kei-chan.
もっと真剣に考えてください。
Think about it
い
harder.
いですか？
Listen,
2人の死がお社様のたたりということになってるなら、
if two people died because of Oyashiro-sama's
お
curse,
社様の怒りを鎮めるための生贄もまた2人分必要なはずなんです。
then in order to quell Oyashiro-sama's anger, two people need to be sacrificed.
そういう理屈になるのか？
Is that how it works?
じゃあなんだよ。
So what?
富武さんと高野さんが死んだ陰で今年は2人が行方不明になってるってのか？
Tomitake-san and Takano-san died, so now two people are going to go missing this year? I don't understand why, but when I said that, I felt my spine freeze.
まだ誰も行方不明になってないと思います。
I don't think anyone's been confirmed missing yet.
多分2人が失踪するのはこれからじゃないかと思うんです。
I think that those two people have yet to disappear. Shion, like me, was obviously getting the same feeling crawling down her back.
これから二人が失踪する。
Two people have yet to disappear? Shion didn't answer. I couldn't say any more than that either. A chill crept in through my clothes and tried to wrap into a fist around my heart, cold hands feeling about on my chest. Neither of us could say anything. Tomitake-san opened the lock and he died. Takano-san exposed the ritual storehouse and she died. 2 more people were to be sacrificed. Then, there would be none other than the ones who entered with them. None other than us.
まさか
No,
冗談だろ。
this has got to be a joke. I wanted so much for her to pass this off as a joke, even now. That, though, was such an incredibly difficult and selfish request. Tomitake-san and Takano-san had died in a common way like a car accident. I could tell myself it was coincidence. Instead, he clawed out his own throat, and she burned to death, drowned in oil in the mountains. The 2 deaths were so out of the ordinary that I couldn't possibly dismiss it as mere coincidence. It was as if, in exchange for sneaking into the ritual storehouse, there must be someone punishing us. Some sort of cruel will working behind the scenes. Even so, I still didn't want to accept that terrifying truth. If I did, then I'd have to acknowledge that a horrible crisis was growing near for Shion and I. That's why I argued against it. I argued, knowing that I was running away.
大地、そんなの新聞に出てないぞ。
In the first place, it's not even in the newspaper, is it?
そんなに奇怪な事件なら絶対に新聞やテレビで報道するはずだろう。
Such a monstrous incident would be all over the newspapers and television.
雑誌記者とかだって面白がって大勢来るに決まってる。
Magazine writers would flood the village too, thinking it'd make for an interesting story.
マスコミに報道されないのは当然なんです。
Of course it's not getting reported by the media.
過去にそうだったから。
That's how it was in the past, too. When the incident occurred for the 3rd year in a row, there were some third-rate magazines that sniffed out the story and ran issues full of gossip columns about Himizawa. Fearing that the region would develop a negative stigma, they negotiated with the prefecture and the police. Since last year, it became a big conspiracy. No information about the incidents was allowed to be leaked to the media.
村長とか、あと園崎家出身の金バッジが警察に思いっきり圧力をかけたんだって聞いてます。
I hear the elders and the top brass from the Sonozaki family put all the pressure they could on the police.
じゃあつまり二人の死は秘密裏に処理されてしまったということか。
And you mean their deaths are gonna be dealt with in total secrecy?
そういうことで
That's how it is.
す。もちろん警察は捜査をしてますよ。
Of course, the police are investigating it.
でも秘匿捜査ということなので、捜査活動にはかなりの制限が加えられているそうです。
That's being performed in secret too, though, so I hear the investigation itself is very restricted in what it can and can't do.
これは事実上の捜査妨害と言えるでしょうね。
You could essentially say they're interfering with a police investigation. The story was unbelievable. People died, yet they don't publicize it and deal with everything in secret.
もっと噛み砕いて言うと、
We break it down further.
流しの夜に誰が死んでも公にはならないということです。
It means that no matter who dies on the night of the Watsunagashi, it won't go public.
そんなバカな話があってたまるか。
That's the biggest pile of bullshit I've ever heard.
ケイちゃん、
Kei-chan,
私以前にお社様のたたりは村人が起こしてるかもしれないって言いましたよね。
before, I said how the villagers could be the ones carrying out Oyashiro-sama's curse.
つまりそういうことなんです。
That's what I mean.
このひなみ沢では毎年綿流しの夜にお社様のたたりということにして誰かを殺してもいい土壌がいつの間にか作り上げられているんです。
At some point, the tradition was created here in Himizawa where every year you're allowed to kill someone on the night of the Watanagashi under the guise of it being Oyashiro-sama's curse. When someone dies on the night of the Watanagashi, it turns into the curse of Oyashiro-sama. The curse turns into the serial murder incidents. In order to avoid exacerbating the negative stigma surrounding Hinamizawa, those incidents are dealt with in secret. It's insane. Dead and missing people turn up every year. However bad the stigma gets, the police have to draw the line somewhere, don't they? You could say the incidents happening every year is mysterious, but the police can get the job done when they need to. After all, the incidents always get resolved individually. It doesn't end up being a string of incidents, you know? It just so happens that something unfortunate happens on the night of the Watanagashi every year. That's all it turns into. Most of the criminals responsible for the original dismemberment were arrested. The last one managed to get and stay away, but the events were totally exposed and elucidated, so it was in essence resolved. The dam supporting couple who died in an accident on the second year, that was an accidental death, plain and simple. Made a lot of investigations into the possibility of it having been a homicide, but they didn't turn up anything. It ended up as an accident. It was resolved. On the third year, the priest fell ill and passed away. There were doctors present at the hospital at his deathbed, and they all had trustworthy medical certificates. They even did an autopsy. They concluded that it wasn't a homicide. That was resolved too. On the fourth year, the sister-in-law of the dam-supporting couple was murdered. The criminal was an abnormal man with a history of regular psychostimulant usage. He confessed that he thought Oyashiro-sama's curse was so interesting he wanted to try it out. The criminal died of an accident while imprisoned, so this incident was essentially resolved as well. That's right. None of the incidents had any relation to another, and each was independently resolved. So then why does an unfortunate coincidence occur every year on the night of Watanagashi? You can try and say it's a string of related incidents, but they're not related. Yet, every year, someone always dies, and someone always disappears. The story Takano-san told me on the day during the setup, that the curse really had occurred this year. Couldn't just laugh it off. Then, does that mean it'll come for us too? Just like how one person dies and one disappears every year. Are you saying we'll be taken along with Tomitake-san and Takano-san in a race too? My lips had, at some point, become completely dry, and just saying that was difficult. Shion didn't respond. Her silence, however, was the clearest form of confirmation she could give me. Sure, we went somewhere we shouldn't have. We were just looking, right? We didn't steal anything or take anything out, and we didn't tell anyone that we looked, right? I was already regretting having committed such a wrong. Even so, was it really so bad that Tomitake-san and Takano-san deserved such cruel deaths? Besides, I didn't care about anything I saw in there at all. Takano-san was the one getting so happy over it, wasn't she? Takano-san was the one at fault. I don't have anything to do with this. Not interested, I'm not involved, and I don't give a shit about what was in there. I knew saying so wouldn't solve anything. I could feel myself, my cold self, in the innermost depths of my heart, disgusted at my pointless howling. However, my emotions had broken through the dam, and I couldn't stop them anymore.
俺はもともと興味なんか全然なかったんだ。
I didn't have any interest in any of this from the start, damn it.
リカちゃんの演舞を見ていたかっただけなんだ。
All I wanted to do was watch Rika-chan's performance.
それをシオンが勝手に連れ出したんじゃないか。
You were the one who pulled me away from that, weren't you, Shion?
あの二人が泥棒しようが相引きしようがしたことじゃない。
I don't give a rat's ass whether those two were trying to steal something or try to meet up secretly or whatever.
そうだよ。そもそもシオンが中に入ろうって言い出したんだ。
That's right. You're the one who made me go in there in the first place, Shion.
ケイちゃんは見ておく必要があるとかなんとか思わせぶりなことを言って中に引き込んだんだ。
You were all Kei-chan, you need to see what's inside, and you convinced me and then pulled me
ど
in.
うしてくれるんだよ。
Why the hell did you do that?
俺は全然関係ないんだぞ。
Didn't have anything to do with this.
どうすんだよ。
What will you do?
どうすんだよ。
What are you gonna do, damn it?
どうやって責任を取ってくれるんだよ。
How are you gonna take responsibility for this? Huh?
おい、聞いてる。あ、
Hey, are you listening? Click. Without any warning, the phone cut off with the soft sound of a receiver being slammed down. Shion was just as terrified as I was. I just said some really self-centered things. My riled up emotions disappeared as if they'd never existed, and in their place surged waves of deep regret at having run my mouth so irresponsibly. I could try to call out Shion's name from beyond the disconnected phone, but it was too late. What have I done? Shion was only trying to tell me as much as she could about this thing about to descend upon us. As for me, I could only whine like a child about it. I went to call her back, but then remembered she lived in Okinomiya. I didn't know her phone number. Since I had declared to Mion that I hadn't seen Shion last night, I couldn't just call Mion and ask her for Shion's phone number. I was too scared. Couldn't even call her back. I was stricken with hopeless regret. I returned the receiver to its stand, and I simply prayed that Shion would call me back again. Please, Shion. Calm down and call me again. Oh, wow.
もしもし、前原です。
Hello, this is Maibara. I swept up the receiver as though it wouldn't go through if I didn't grab it at that exact moment.
前原さんのお宅でしょうか。
Is this the Maibara residence?
夜分遅くに失礼いたします。
Excuse me for the late call.
君吉と申します。
I'm Kimiyoshi. Who the hell?
ご主人様でいらっしゃいますか？
Is this the head of the household? It was the voice of a girl who clearly wasn't Shion. All my hopes rushed out of me.
いえ、違いますけど。
No, it isn't.
親父に用なら呼んできます。
If you need Dad, I'll go call him. I went to put the receiver back down, but the caller stopped me hurriedly.
あ、いえいえ、お忙しければ結構なんです。
Oh, no, no. If he's busy, then it's fine.
実は恐縮なんですが、うちのおじいちゃんがお邪魔してませんでしょうか。
This may be a strange question, but is my old man paying you a visit?
いえ、誰も来てませんけど。
No, nobody's here at the moment.
そうですか。
I see.
夜分遅くに申し訳ありませんでした。
Again, I apologize for calling you so late at night.
失礼いたします。
Goodbye. Black. I don't know who that was, but what if Shion tried to call me while I was on the phone? I thought, bubbling with egotistic anger. Hey, wait. Give it a break, Keiji Mabara. These are the selfish emotions that made Shion mad at me, aren't they? The more I thought about it, though, the more I thought that Shion had given up hope in the short time since we had our conversation and didn't want to call anymore. Calm yourself, Kichimabara. If Shion does call again, then first apologize in a calm voice. If you do that, then Shion should understand. However, no matter how long I waited, the phone didn't ring again that night. Who was that girl? Who was that? Asking about her old man. Wow, more scrapbook notes? That's crazy. Form an alliance? Okay. Get me the hell out of here. Don't care. The stream is over. It's time for us to go. I haven't played music for the end of the stream in a bit, have I? I should do that. What to play though? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put on Dracula Flow. That's a Hyundai ad.
And cutting straight to the bricks. Ha ha! This shit ain't nothing to me, man. We smoking runts. Shorty got a BBL, took that shit out because she couldn't run. I had to do it to them snipe. I went Judge Judy on that pussy snipe. I'm not loyal to anybody. I'm a demon. I have no loyalty for anyone. Never did, never will. Shorty chose to be with a demon. Sounds like her problem to me. Ha ha. This shit ain't nothing to me, man.
I don't know what to think about this game. I just know bad things are gonna start happening again. Because Tomitake and Takano are dead again. But now it's like, oh, there's 2 deaths, so there's gonna be 2 sacrifices. Which is great, because that's gonna be me and Shion. So awesome. So I guess the number of people that die and disappear can increase. So that's just wonderful. Tomitake mode off. And also we got me on Scary Face again, so the demons are back. I'm not happy about it. But that's it for tonight. Dark Souls on Saturday. What if it's just a load of bullshit? Yeah, it is, actually. Keiichi's just making it up in his head because he's crazy.